Welcome to Keys to Conversions, the podcast where we unlock success secrets in real estate. I'm your host, Mark Strand. Today we have a special guest, Dedra Nickell from Kansas City. Dedra is a seasoned real estate agent with over 15 years of experience, providing white glove service to her clients. She's a lifelong Missouri resident, a triplet raised by a single mom. She's a wife and a proud mother of 2 boys. Her motto, Stellar Beyond the Cell, reflects her dedication to exceeding client expectations. We'll dive into her journey, challenges, and rewards, plus we'll get her insights on the Kansas City market and advice for aspiring agents. Stay tuned for this amazing conversation.
How's it going? Thank you for having me on.
What a pleasure to have you. Just tell us where in the U.S. you're from. I know you're from the U.S. and a little bit about you. What led you to a career in real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you. It's an honor to be here today. So I am actually in Kansas City, Missouri. So I do service Kansas City, Missouri in Kansas, and there's a bit of a difference because there's a bridge between the 2 states. So I'm in Kansas City. I live in Kansas City, Missouri, but I service both Kansas City, Missouri, as well as Kansas City, Kansas. And so that is where I'm located. And as far as what got me into real estate, oh my goodness. So as a young lady, I've always, probably when I was maybe in my probably early 20s, I've always wanted to do real estate. It's been a dream of mine. And I started out in the corporate world, and at that time, I couldn't really justify being commission only on a commission only salary. So when the opportunity presented itself for me to actually dive into real estate as an assistant with a salary and kind of tiptoe into it that way, I absolutely jumped on that because, again, it's something I've always wanted to do.
Amazing. So like most of us that get into being agents, you had a previous career. It seems that those that jump straight into real estate are often have family that are in the business, to me. But most of us come from other industries. Tell us about those other industries and the transferables that you found from them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a background. I worked for one of the largest telecommunications companies here in Kansas City for over 11 years. Also, I was a financial analysis there. I also did project management, have my certification as a project manager. And then I worked in healthcare. And I loved both of those. Both of those jobs were really nice, and I loved them. I will tell you, I felt like I was going home every day and I wasn't really fulfilling a need. Like I just couldn't see at the end of the day exactly what I was doing to benefit others. I know that I was making an impact, but I just couldn't really see it, and it wasn't as rewarding. So again, once that opportunity presented itself for me to be able to go in and to be an assistant to a broker and his team, it was like, it was the perfect sign. God was like, here you go. I'm opening up this door for you to start real estate. But my background is finance, project management, which has helped me a lot in my career.
And what was it about those industries? What were the specific transferables within those industries that you find?
Sure. So to me, I always tell people we're all on this journey, Mark. And with both of my previous jobs that I worked, as within that large telecommunication company, I built a lot of relationships there. I learned a lot from a lot of others. They poured into me, and I was able to transfer that and pour into others. So some of the things that I learned at the telecommunications company was, one, I did get my project management certification, which has allowed me to literally lay out my real estate business. So I want to kind of elaborate on that because people think, oh, you're a real estate agent. Yes, but I'm also a business owner. So I literally own the Nickell Stellar Home. That is my business. That Nickell Stellar Homes real estate company is something that if I don't get up every day and work it won't happen. So the project management skills that I learned as a project manager within the telecommunication company has allowed me to lay out my foundation for my company. It's also taught me a lot as far as building relationships, how to network, how to plan out a day and literally have goals, setting my mission statement. All of that came from the corporate world that I worked in for so long. As far as the healthcare, it literally helped me when I worked in the healthcare as a patient advocate. To me, that kind of gave me that heart to have empathy for others and to kind of put myself in my client's position. Like sometimes, we go throughout the day and we're just thinking about us. But sometimes we need to step out and put ourselves in that buyer's position or that seller's positions or that customer that may not even be a buyer or seller yet. So I believe that both of those or careers have really helped me, informed me to being the person that I am today, and has really helped me be successful in my career.
Yeah, and I have to say, through our conversations within our ABN network, that's really what's drawn me to you and recognize that your approach, I truly feel like your approach to this business is very similar to mine, where I am an incredibly empathetic person, and I often I often will put others' needs ahead of mine, and there's downsides to that also. But yeah, that's really why I really wanted to have you on this podcast, because I feel like we do really connect in that way. So you're born and raised in Kansas City, super cool. The market that I'm in, I absolutely love Kingston, Ontario. It's beautiful, the greatest city I feel it's the greatest city in Canada. But I didn't grow up
I
here.
need to come and visit. I need to come and visit.
Oh, please do. You'll love it. You'll love it. But I didn't grow up here. I grew up north, quite far away north of this city. But what I'm getting at is I feel like you have such deep roots there. There's a really competitive advantage. And when I first came to Kingston, it wasn't the right time for me to be a real estate agent. I needed to get to know my city. Where you have a competitive advantage is how well you know your market, your city. And I just want you to kind of jump into that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. And I want to kind of piggyback on something you said. I think that was our connection, Mark, that you and I were
sure.
like, we didn't want to just we have morals, we have work ethics, we sincerely care about our clients. It is not about the transaction. It is about our clients and taking care of them. So
that's the result of that's the end result. Correct. It's not what drives us.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I definitely want to agree with you on that. So Kansas City. So yes. So I definitely think I know that that's some value added that I am able to give to my clients. Born and raised here in Kansas City, I bleed, and you hear me, I tease Sekou, of course, our coach, our fearless coach. I tease him because I'll typically have on my Kansas City Chiefs hat, and I love Kansas City. So the thing,
been pretty good.
Yeah, listen, also doing pretty great. Kansas City Royals are doing great right now. So our baseball team. So we were just at the game Monday, but the thing is, it's things like that, like knowing what's going on. Like if my clients want to know what's going on in the baseball world, they want to know what's going on in the football. I also love music, like concerts, salsa dancing. I'm well diverse in so many different areas. And the fact that I love Kansas City, I take weekends and sometimes I'll just drive around to different parts and try out different restaurants, and just to kind of I want to experience those areas and those locations and places so that I can talk to my clients about those locations. Like it's one thing to refer a client to an area, but if you've never been in that area, you haven't experienced the restaurants, it's kind of hard to kind of really vouch for those places. And so me being here and born here helps me, especially for my clients that are relocating. So I do a lot of relocations, military families and things like that. That really helps me because I'm grounded and I know I know Kansas City, Missouri, as well as Kansas. So it's helped me add value to my clients. So I love it.
Yeah, let's dig into that market a little bit. I would describe my market here in Kingston. What drives our city is we've got three major post-secondary institution schools in our city. We've got Royal Military College. We've got Queen's University, which would be the I guess we refer to it as the Harvard of the North. It's a high quality university. It would be an Ivy League school if it were located in the U.S. And we've also got a major college, St. Lawrence College. So that really drives our economy. Plus, we've got 4 or 5 federal prisons in our area, which provides tons of jobs. That's kind of how I would describe the economics of our area. What would Kansas City be like?
Yeah, absolutely. So the good thing, so we're a little different because we have Missouri and Kansas, and both of them can be quite different depending on your needs and what you're looking for. So I grew up in the Missouri on the Missouri side, but I worked in the Kansas City in Overland Park, Kansas, which is a suburb of Kansas. So I'll talk a little bit about Missouri, and then you'll hear me talk about Kansas. So Missouri is known for our jazz. So when I grew up, and we'll talk about when I was a little girl, I grew up on a street, and it was called Ella Fitzgerald. Ella Fitzgerald. And Ella Fitzgerald is a musician. So we are known for our jazz, our barbecue. We are known for we have our baseball leagues, the Monarchs, and stuff like that. So the historic area of Kansas City is kind of where I grew up. So I kind of know that area really well, and a lot of people come to Kansas City for those things. So the Missouri side, we're known for those things. As far as the job market and the schools, we really do have a good diversified school. So we have a UMKC, which is one of our nursing schools. We have KU Med, another great school. So we do have the Missouri and Kansas where you can do UMKC or KU, and we got Rockhurst. We have so many other little or bigger but kind of smaller universities. We have Johnson County, and then we have Longview. So the good thing is that it's diverse depending on what side of the bridge you want to live in. So the thing about Overland Park, Kansas, most of our jobs, the hiring jobs or the bigger corporations, they're over on the Kansas side. Hence why I was working at one of the largest telecommunication companies in Kansas, because most of our corporate jobs are held over there. So there is a lot of things going on in Kansas City on both Missouri and Kansas side.
Neat. Yeah, let's get into your early life. Born as a triplet, that's obviously super unique. What I guess just generally, what's it like? What was it like growing up as a triplet? What's it like today? We hear twins talking about. You already know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You sense certain things from your siblings.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So and I always have to chuckle because I was just talking to my sister earlier. So I just talked to my brother. So we talk pretty much every day. Like we're adults and we still talk to each other every day. My sister actually lives in Texas, and my brother's a police officer here in Kansas City. So he's still here, but she's a couple hours away. So growing up as a triplet was absolutely fun. We had a really, really great childhood. My mom was a single mom, and so we didn't have a lot of money, but we didn't realize that we didn't have a lot of money when we was growing up. You don't know what you don't know. And right. So she was a single mom. And so there was like a village that kind of wrapped their arms around my mother. And then we had our grandparents. And so my grandfather was more like my father figure or our father figure. But we were just embraced with love. Like we felt loved. And we didn't realize how uncommon triplets was until we got older, because we were so used to like being in the schools and everybody knowing us. And we just thought, oh, yeah, we're triplets, me and my sister would kind of trade off classes sometimes, probably switched boyfriends here and there, depending on who she liked and who I liked. So we did a lot. We had a lot of fun. We probably drove my mom just a little crazy here and there, because we would kind of sometimes just do some crazy little things where we're being kind of ornery. And she's like, okay, both of you guys are in trouble because I'm not sure which one of you guys did it. So, It was a lot of fun growing up. I wouldn't change it for the world. Again, my mom did a heck of a job to be a single mom. And again, we did have that village. My grandparents. I have an older sister who was like our second mom. She took us under her wing, and so we had a really good time growing up.
Your area seems super cool. What's one of your favorite places in Kansas City?
So my favorite place is actually going to watch the games, the Kansas City Chiefs games, the Royals games. I love baseball. As you know, I have two boys. And so I spend a lot of my time on baseball fields and going to football games. So I would
Yeah.
say going to the games and being hanging out with fans and Kansas City people, other Kansas City folks.
So we had joked around within our group that I needed baseball lessons from your son, who's an all-star, and it's a little late because I have the hand injury now.
I think we can still help you that
way. Oh, great.
way.
What sort of market trends are you seeing in your area?
So, I just actually kind of researched that because I have two new clients relocating to Kansas City. So actually overall, the market is very competitive. It's strong. What we're really seeing is that the buyers are kind of struggling because we got some investors and sellers that are like, it's their market right now. Like these investors and sellers, it's kind of their market right now. So some of my buyers, it's a little bit of a struggle to we're kind of getting bid out on some of the homes. It's not a lot, but I'm seeing it happening more. And what I'm doing is working with lenders to help them buy down rates and things like that and figure out different ways to negotiate and be a little bit more competitive. But yeah, I would definitely say right now it's kind of a seller/investors market right now.
Yeah, we're starting to get pretty heavy with listings in our area up here. Yeah, there's lots on the market. So great things for buyers is that. So we've gone from a couple of years ago where we couldn't have conditions on offers. There's no way it would be accepted, to now being able to protect our buyers and also having a variety of options on the market. So that's kind of what we're seeing up here now, which in a lot of ways is getting back to a normal market, which I feel is a good thing.
Very good thing.
The mayhem of, you didn't even have to put a sign on the lawn and the listing's gone, right?
Yeah, we need to balance that out.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. I mean, those 1.99 rates and 2.99 rates were just, very great rates, but wow, that changed our market a lot.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We saw our first dip in mortgage rates be a couple weeks ago now. And I mean, it's so minimal that it hasn't really it'll take a few more of those for it to have any sort of effect on the market, but it's nice to see that our rates stabilizing now. Your motto is one on exceeding clients' expectations, stellar beyond the sell. Just explain what that means to you.
Yeah. So funny story. A long time ago, I was at an open house, probably maybe my very first open house, as a matter of fact. So this would have been a long time ago, lots of years ago. And so I was hosting it with the lender, and he was like, Dedra, he's like, Nickell. And, I was like, yeah. He's like, you need to come up with a slogan. I was like, yeah. I said, kind of thought about it. I can't think of one. He's like, well, I look at you and he's like, so what's the feedback that you're getting from your clients? You're servicing your clients, what feedback? And I was like, I had one client was like, oh my goodness, stellar service. And I was like, and then it kind of just went with most of the feedback, because I always ask for feedback after I do a transaction or, have that relationship with those clients. And so he was like, Nickell, he was like, why don't you do stellar beyond the service? Meaning after you're done with that transaction, no matter what's going on, you're still servicing your clients. And he's so right. Literally, my very, very first client, we are still friends. As a matter of fact, she helped me hang my wall frames last Saturday, but we are still friends, and she has sent me so many clients. But it wasn't just about that transaction or that sale. It was about building that relationship, and we're still friends to this day. And not only with her, I have several of my clients that we're still friends. And it's not just about just being friends. If they need something, if they need a provider or a vendor, just being there for them the lifetime of their home or the lifetime of our friendship, just being that person beyond that sale, not just about the sale. So being that person in their life beyond the sale. So that's where Stellar Beyond the Sale came from.
Awesome. You want to hear the story of my first client? It's pretty
Yes.
outrageous.
Yes.
So buyer up a little more than an hour north of where I live, was dating a friend of mine at the time. And this friend contacted me, say, hey, her name's Lindsay. Lindsay's looking at buying a house. Can you help? And of course. Yeah, no problem. I'll be up there. We'll look at homes. So she's an entry-level buyer in a competitive market. We're looking at really anything that we can get into. One comes up on the market. We put in a bid. They were holding offers, and we put in a bid ahead of when they were holding, and we're able to secure the home. And this whole thing's going great. And my in-laws are asking me, how's your new business going? I said, oh, it's great. I've got my first deal that's all lined up, and they're asking me about it. Well, it turns out my wife's name's also Lindsay. They share the same aunt and uncle.
Oh my goodness.
So they're not related by blood, but so my father-in-law's brother and her mother's sister are married.
Oh my
So they're both names Lindsay. So I'm at closing, and I'm like, so I have something to share with you. My Lindsay here. Lindsay, you have an uncle, Dave and Kathy. So does my Lindsay. And I'm explaining this whole thing to them, and it's like, we're damn near family, right?
Yes.
And it's more than an hour north of here. It's like, oh my goodness, this
what
story
are the
is
odds
outrageous.
of that happening? Oh,
right?
My goodness. That was meant to be, Mark.
So this is the first time I've ever told that story publicly, and but it's so cool to tell, right?
Oh yes, Lindsay and Lindsay. Hey,
Lindsay, Uncle Dave, Aunt Kathy. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's very cool.
Exceeding expectations as part of your motto. Tell us. So we're sharing stories now, as we like to do on these podcasts. Tell us a story about you exceeding one of your clients' expectations.
Sure. So I had a situation where there was a client that found me online. They went to realtor.com and looked me up and looked at my bio. That's why it's important, you guys. Have your bio, have your picture. People actually read those things, and they actually research you before they choose their realtor. So it was a mother and son, and the son was looking for a realtor for his mom. He had lost his father. I didn't realize that at our first conversation that he had lost his father. It wasn't until I went to the listing appointment, my very first listing appointment. So anyway, he found me online, realtor.com, picked up the phone, called me and said, hey, we're interested in listing our house. Could you come out and look at it? My mom will be home. I'll be there. I'm the son. He lived out of town, lived out of state. He was going to be there just that weekend. Want to know if I can come out. I'm like, absolutely. Be more than happy to come out. Set up a time, set up a date. Got off the phone with him. I was a nervous wreck. I'm like, oh my goodness, I got a listing. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I was so nervous, Mark, because I was like, I played it so cool and so confident, but I really did not. I didn't even have my listing presentation together. Like I had nothing ready. So anyway, got with my mentor at that time. Super awesome guy. He's like, no worries, Dedra, you got this. I'm going to go to the appointment with you, but I'm going to let you do all the heavy lifting. I'm going to let you do the talking because they'll be working directly with you. So you kind of want to build that rapport in that relationship. I was like, okay, great. I got this. I'm going to do this. So anyway, we get to the listing appointment, meet the son, such a nice guy, meet the mom, such a nice woman. So they explained to me about the father had passed and the son was out of town. He really needed someone to take care of his mom and help her get the house prepared for the market. She was having a really difficult time because she had to get rid of a lot of things of her husband's, and that was going to be really difficult. And so I reassured him, no problem. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. So what I did was he left that Monday. I think we met that Saturday. He ended up leaving that Monday. I ended up lining up a painter, someone to come and clean the house, someone to help declutter, someone to pack. Like I had 6 vendors. Was like, let me, and I was at that house for 7 days, and we got everything up to par. Put the house on the market within 2 weeks. They were so ecstatic and so happy that I was able to take the time and not just refer them to people, but to actually use my white glove service of being there to exceed their expectations and make sure that I was there to be by her side, because her son was going out of town and she had already lost her husband. So that is one of the ones where I can say my heart was so filled. I was so grateful. It was an honor to be able to be a part of that journey with them. And so I got our house sold. We put it on the market. It was sold within 48 hours.
Right. Yeah. In those early stages, and I'm still relatively early on, but I can relate to cleaning clients' windows, packing boxes, being right in the trenches with clients. And that's really the stuff that people remember that you did. It's great to get homes sold, and that's the goal, but to take those extra moments with people and clean their windows or help be there packing boxes, right?
Yes, that's that white glove service, and that's that I care, and it's not just about a commission or a transaction.
Right.
It's how can I really help you, like caring.
That's it.
Clients.
Yeah. I guess my next question might lead right into that. Is newer agents coming into the industry, what advice would you give them? You come from a wealth of experience, and what are your thoughts? What would you do differently today entering the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I did as a walking into real estate, this is, to me, if I was to start over, I would do this part over again, and I'll tell you the part that I would do differently. But I walked into real estate learning the back end. So as an assistant, I learned all the contract work. So I think what happens is we have new agents or people jump into real estate and they think about, the pretty houses, the open doors, opening doors and looking at houses and the commission checks. Well, you got to learn the contracts and you got to learn how to negotiate and you got to learn the law of it. So in the real estate school, they teach you those things, but there's a difference from them teaching you and you actually writing out a contract and actually doing an amendment and doing those. So my advice is learn your contract paperwork, learn the back ends of real estate before learning how to open doors and those things, because that piece right there is the most important. You are going to be the most valuable agent to your client if you know your contracts, if you know what you can and cannot do, and if you know how to negotiate and build those relationships with other agents. That is the advice that I would give a new agent. Learn that piece, and also remember that when you come into real estate, don't just think about the commission checks. Think about how you can service and help others. Save you up a good 6 months to a year's income. This is that advice that I did not do that I would advise someone to do. But then I was on a salary, so mine was a little bit different. Save up at least a 1 year's salary, because you're going to need that, because you're going to be paying for fees and little things your first year. And so the income doesn't always come because you have to build up your clientele. So save up some money and be patient and make sure that you learn your paperwork. That is my advice.
Yeah, I was playing something for our group there the other day that it just what you were saying just triggered me. It's get better, or don't worry about getting rich, get better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is very true.
And to this day, what do you find to be your biggest challenges and biggest rewards?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my biggest challenge, to be honest with you, is to be consistent in everything that I do. And I say that with a little bit of, I know I need to get better. And sometimes it's hard to come out your mouth, but it's true. Like I literally, Mark, you and I get on calls in the morning. I would like to be more consistent on doing my time blocking and making sure that when I'm supposed to be making my calls and I'm making those calls, that I'm not taking appointments during those times. Because if I don't continue to time block and set up my future clients for the future, I'm not going to have clients in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So being consistent and time blocking and making your calls, doing your planning for your business. That piece just being, it's not that I don't plan, it's not that I don't do, it's just that I'm not consistent enough. That's one of the things that's my challenge that I'm working on right now. And then
the fact that you recognize that, I believe, means that you're probably actually doing it better than you're giving yourself credit for.
Some days, I don't know. But the other days, I'm like, Dedra, just be consistent. Like Monday through Thursday, just make the calls. 9-11, just jump on it and just make the calls. So don't. So my thing is, if someone says, oh, well, do you want to come, want to go show a house? And I'm like, yeah. And I should just say, hey, I can do it, but I need to do it after 11 o'clock.
Right.
Those type of decisions are important. And I didn't to be honest with you, Mark, I didn't realize how important those conversations, doing the time blocking and being consistent and sticking with it and not wavering. Because what I didn't realize is, yeah, that's your client for today. You may be able to bump that appointment out, but how are you going to continue to build and get your pipeline and continue to have your pipeline going if you're doing your time blocking, you're doing other stuff?
How are you finding, you're a few years ahead of me in the industry. How are you finding that you're being to the point where you are? Are you starting to feel more of a natural, steady flow of clients coming back or a referral business?
Sure. I would absolutely say, because of the years, now I'm getting more referrals. I mentioned my one first time client, very first client, and now she's still sending me referrals. So I'm getting referrals from that particular client. I also do networking. So I'm the president of my BNI group. So that's a networking group. So being plugged into networking groups that where you're actually networking is very important. So doing that. And then I would honestly say, Mark, our ABN group, our coach Sekou, like those Levi, my sponsor, they have helped me tremendously to be who I am today. And they have taught me different ways to do my business. I do the Mojo Dollar, Fizz Bonanza, like things that tools that I wasn't aware of,
Mm-hmm.
So, we learned something the other day, Mark. We were on a call about another lead, a lead generation, a generator. So there's so many things. And so I would say being plugged into what we're doing, like ABN, continuing to do my BNI, just networking and keeping yourself front and center, not only with your sphere, but with new potential clients by building those relationships through networking.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now we get to the fun part. Yeah. You got something outrageous that you can tell us about?
Outrageous. Let's see. How outrageous would you like for me to go?
Let's go level 10 of what you can share.
I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so wait, which question is this? Be a little bit more specific, because I can.
An industry, like crazy experience that you had within the industry. Whether it be another agent you can talk about, a client, or a situation.
I would say, so I'm going to be 100% honest. I really haven't had anything too crazy. I think the only thing that's happened to me was, I'm pretty, my clients, I'm very protective of my clients. And I had a agent, we were in a transaction, and we found out that there were some foundation issues. And I knew that the seller / agent knew and was aware of this foundation issue, and they would not be forthcoming. And that just really, really bugged me. Like, I am just like, and I said, hey, put yourself, what if this was your client? Like, and no matter what I said, Mark, to them, they were in denial. They wouldn't admit to it. So I literally had to go above that agent's head and show proof that they were aware of the foundation issues, and they would not be forthcoming we were already under our contract. We had passed up our inspection time. And I want to say out of all of the transactions, I probably lost my cool with that one when it came to, and when I say lost my cool, I probably was very, I was very professional, but I was very firm with this particular agent. Like, how dare you? Like, because now not only are you doing this to my client, but I'm your co-agent and this is the treatment. And so I said, for me to have to go, and I did this all from the broker, for me to have to go to a broker above you, I don't understand like what we're doing here. Like it should always be honesty, integrity, forthcoming. And then that was when my eye opened to see, Mark, that everyone's not like me and everyone's not going to do what I would do. So I needed to get over myself and just say, hey, here's the facts.
Yeah.
And
you were confused as to why it needed to be escalated to that level.
I was definitely confused because I'm thinking anybody that's holding a license, a real estate license, you should be honest. You should have these are things that we vowed when we, when we said yes to being a real estate agent. So that was probably where I may have just was like, oh my goodness, I've never had to get this firm with the agent. So that probably was one of my heated moments.
Right. So anyone who's listening to this and wants to get in touch with you, whether it be other agents that are looking to connect with you or perhaps someone that's looking to buy or sell in your area, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the best way to reach me is my website, which is very simple. It's www.dedra.nickell@exp.com. You're more than welcome to reach me there. You can also contact me by phone. I always pick up my phone, or if I'm away, then you can shoot me a text message. My phone number is area code 816-695-8102. Text, call. If you go on my website, you can do a request and it'll send me an email notification. If you want to send me an email, it's D Nickell. My last name is like the coin with 2 L's, so it's DNICKELL Homes HOMES @gmail.com. But any of those methods, just give me a call. If you have any questions, if you're a new agent and you got questions and you just want to pick my brain, I'm available for that. Any way I can help, I'm here to help.
Perfect. So if you're in the Kansas, Missouri market, you hit up Dedra. Kingston, Ontario market or area, hit me up. My number's on the bottom of the screen here. Thanks so much for doing this with me today, Dedra.
Thank you, Mark, for having me. And absolutely, if you guys, Canada, Kingston, any of those areas, definitely Mark, he didn't get to toot his own horn, but I want you to know that Mark is a wealth of knowledge. He has been an amazing person to get to know as a real estate agent and on a professional level, and his marketing skills are amazing. So if you're needing someone to list a house or a buyer, give him a call. He's definitely your guy.
Thank you, Dedra.
You're welcome.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.